which sunk it Liverpool here this afternoon. 3-0 it ended as a contest. We've still got lots to do this evening. We're going to hear where Liverpool are right now. We'll hear from their manager and Pep Guardiola after 1,000 games as a boss.
G-O-A-T, you can be the greatest.
5 defeats in 6 games, and Liverpool have never lost more than 5 of their first 11 matches in Premier League season. Difficult times for Arne Slot, who's with Patrick Davison.
Well, Arne, anyone can come here and lose. How do you feel about the way you've lost, the way you've performed?
Very, very, very difficult first half for us. I would almost say, as you can expect if you go here, because they were pressing us really high. We're very good in ball possession. We struggled a lot in the first half, so you're hoping you can get the end of the first half with a 1-0 in behind. Then, of course, there were 5 to 10 minutes that have been influential to the game. So instead of going 1-1 at halftime or maybe 2-1 down, it ended up being 2-0 down at halftime. And second half, I saw a much better performance from us than in the first half. But first half, it was obvious that they were better than us.
Yeah. Give us your view then on that influential moment, as you put it.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to give my view about it. I think it's obvious and clear that the wrong decision has been made, at least in my opinion.
Sorry, Arne, why do you think that?
Because he didn't interfere at all with what the goalkeeper could do. I immediately after the game, someone showed me the goal that what the same referee allowed City against Wolves last season, Wolves against City last season. So it took the linesman 13 seconds to raise his flag to say it's offside. So there was clearly communication. So, but as I said, that could have influenced the game in a positive way for us, because in the first half we were so poor. But yeah, a set piece can make a difference, and now we conceded the 2-0 from a set piece, and then that was maybe a fair reflection of the first half, by the way, us being 2-0 down. But that's maybe not where it's about.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an obvious question, but how big a moment is that? Because clearly the difference between 1-1 and 2-0 is significant.
Yeah, especially if the game went as it went. So we would have been lucky going 1-0 down at halftime, let alone if it was 1-1 or 2-1 down. But yeah, so it has been an influential decision, which not to say that we then would have had a result over here, because you cannot predict how the second half would have gone then, because it was again obvious and clear that the City was the first half by far the better team.
Yeah, and as you say, probably not fair to focus in entirely on the referee, because you said yourself first half you were really poor. Yeah. Why?
Not really poor, or they were really good. That didn't lead to a lot of chances, but they were dominating the game. They were better than us. We were having a lot of trouble to bring the ball out from the back. So we lost it too early, and then they started playing again. That didn't lead to chance after chance after chance. And even if you then look back at the goals, the first one was a cross from them, which we were in the right position. We were a little bit maybe unlucky with the deflection of Ibu. 2-0 set piece. And in the meantime, we've also conceded a penalty because the VAR overturned the decision from the referee.
Yeah. What did you make of that? I know it doesn't really matter because they didn't score it, but thoughts on that?
Yeah, in the moment you try to make it as clear as possible. Is it obvious and clear that this is a wrong decision? The only thing I could also see was that there was contact. I cannot disagree on that. But after the contact, he was able to put his foot in exactly the position he wanted to put his foot into. So, these are moments. Sometimes VARs or sometimes referee give a penalty for this. So you cannot talk too long about that.
Do you feel overall, Arne, as you go into this international break, like a manager with a lot to fix? I know you had the 2 wins, but it's 7 defeats in 10. A lot to fix in terms of performance level, a lot to fix in terms of integrating fully some of the new signings who maybe don't still look like they're, I don't know, fully part of this.
No, I don't know if that's the situation. It's been a very good start of the week with a very bad end of the week. But City away is, like you started this interview, for everyone a difficult game, including for us. Last season we were able to win here because we scored a set piece, going 1-0 up, and then we had to defend really hard afterwards. Today, I don't think, apart from that decision, and maybe it was ever going to be our game, you would never know what have happened after 1-1. But in general, they were the better team, and yeah, we need to improve. That's what we know. But I didn't need this game to know this. But I liked, if there's anything to like today, was our second half performance, because teams that sometimes struggle, teams that go 3-0 down over here, they gave up. But that's not what I saw. I saw a team that was trying to come back into the game. We had moments to do so, but it wasn't enough today. That's clear.
Lastly, managers will often say things like, you can't win the league in November, but you can lose it. 8 points back. Does it feel lost, or does it feel like there's still a lot to play for?
Now, last season when we were 8 points clear, it never felt as if it was done already. But I don't think at this moment of time, as a Liverpool manager, we should talk about the number one position. We should focus on our own performance. That needs to be better. But this week gave me a lot of positives to take into the games we're going to face after the international break. And yeah, it's clear that in moments of this you could focus only on the negatives, but there were a lot of positives in this week as well.
Thank you, Arne.
You're welcome.
Yeah, 8 points adrift of leaders Arsenal, and certainly a very different feeling to when they won here in February to go 11 points clear of Arsenal at the top of the table. But there is time still in this season, and maybe Arne Slot's got a point that we shouldn't just take this game in isolation when we make our assessment of Liverpool, because at the start of the week they beat Aston Villa and then beat Real Madrid, let's not forget. With that in mind, Roy, how would you assess Liverpool's title defence to this point?
No, I think it is crisis time for Liverpool. As I said, yeah, we know they can be beaten in Man City. We know it's a tough place to come, and Man City, the signs are Man City obviously getting back to their very best. But to lose 7 and 10 and 5 league losses already this season, yeah, it has to be a crisis for a club like Liverpool. I thought his assessment of the game today was spot on. I think it was very fair. Yeah, the decision could have gone against them, but overall, City looked stronger, technically better, and they looked really much better physically than Liverpool today. I thought Liverpool like a really weak team today. Still at moments, of course, they've got that quality. They'll still cause teams problems, but defensively, the goals are given away, the decision making. I go back to that word, lack of intensity, lack of energy. They're chopping and changing, bring your subs on, but it just looked really flat. And I know Gary mentioned it, the managers mentioned it, said he was pleased with the second half, but the game was over. The game is over. It's very easy to play when you're 2 or 3-0 down, when the other teams take their foot off the gas. So they've got Forest after the international break, obviously Forest fighting for their lives. Yeah, to me
game they lost last season at Anfield.
Yeah. No, I think it is crisis for Liverpool.
Patrick raised the question of integration potentially being a problem for Liverpool right now. Do you get that feeling that he's not quite sure whether to stick or twist right now with some of these new signings?
I think last season they had a lot more consistency, and his job was clearly easier. He was inheriting a squad, whereas I think this season they've, of course, made new signings, which some players have hit the ground running. I think Ekitike started extremely well. But the other players haven't quite got there yet.
And are we right to expect more, Daniel, when you think about the number of the value of that investment, over £400 million?
Well, look, it's an unforgiving league. You know, this league, I think the expectation is for players, just because the price tag's there, that they're supposed to come here and hit the ground running and be world-class footballers straight away. It's rare finds in the Premier League that happens, because the demands are high. The intensity of each team you're facing is clearly better than any league around the world. So I think some of the players are surprised at the intensity of the league, and Wirtz is one of them that's actually explained that in interviews. But when we're talking about the manager and talking about the team that he has to select, I think he does need to stick with a team that he truly believes in and gives them 5 games. I think he did try that this week at least. But it's not working out at the moment, and I think that the cohesion and the chemistry that the team had last season has clearly disappeared. It's not there anymore. It's not the same outfit that we're used to seeing. They got to go back to the drawing board, clearly analyse all of the defeats, and I think even if we take the defeats out of it, and we go to the start of the season, those last minute goals that were consistently happening, and how long could that continue was the conversation. Well, we're now having a different conversation, which is they've lost 7 in 10. They've been completely miles off it, if we're being honest, in the sense of their standards. Their level is way higher than what they're performing at.
Have they got any chance of winning the league from this point, Micah?
I mean, I always said it's too early, but after today's performance, you would say no. But I had Liverpool favourites, and the problem has with Ekitike coming in, who was supposed to be second choice, who's done really well. Now you've got a problem with Isak. You've got Kirkes is coming left back, who was supposed to be number 1. He's not hit the ground running, so now you've got Robertson. And then it's finding a place for Wirtz. Does really well against Real Madrid. And then today, can you back up that performance? It's not there. I disagree to a certain extent with Sturridge in terms of if you get bought for 100+ million, you should be ready to go. You should be, maybe not in the centre of the park for Liverpool, but out wide, and that's where his good performance. But today we didn't see Wirtz again. And that becomes a problem for the manager, because the players who were supposed to be backups to number 1, they're just...
I think the bigger issues are at the back.
They're doing better
I think the goals they're giving away, I think going forward, not great today, obviously. But the goals they're giving away, the full-backs are a huge problem. Goalkeeper needs to do better. Centre-half looks a nervous wreck.
Yeah, but that comes from consistency. Alisson is a big miss.
Of course.
For sure, just for the chemistry at the back. And then when you flip-flopping between Robertson and Kirkes, he's not working. Conor Bradley did so well against Real Madrid. Can he back it up again today? And I thought it was actually Liverpool's one of their better players.
When you're talking about Wirtz, what are you saying exactly?
With Wirtz, I think that if you are bought for that amount of money, regardless of what league you're coming from, you should show more than what he's showing now. And I've protected him and backed him up until this point. But you get bought for that money to show up in big games. You are. But
is that fair?
Is that a fair assessment?
It's fair to say that the expectation level of a player being, but you don't choose the price tag. You don't go, oh, by the way, I want to be bought for 100+ million quid, so that means now. We're talking about analysing him and saying, what are you? You've come to this football club as a creative genius from Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso managed to get the best out of him. So far, this manager is firstly finding a position for him in his team, and secondly, the players trying to figure out the league. So you've got 2 different things. He's played number 10 in games, he's played on the left in games. We're clearly seeing that at this very moment in time, he's probably better off on the left. For me, the issue is that he's not shooting often, which is one thing that if you're playing in those higher areas on the football pitch, you have to be able to impact the game. I see a player who's someone who the ball goes through him. He's trying to create certain things, but he's not decisive. He's not, the last game, yes, we could argue he's putting chances forward for his teammates, but we do need to see more from him.
There's a good player there. He just has to get up to speed.
And he's got the age to develop, hasn't he?
Yeah. Let's give the kid a chance, but he is struggling physically with the demands.